Hey parents, it's Mr. Jim here. This back to school season, give your kids the tools they need to have fun while they learn with Osmo. Osmo's Reading Adventure Learn to Read game is an interactive tool for kids 5 to 7 that help them practice and develop reading fundamentals. Because it's never too early to fall in love with reading. Visit playosmo.com to check out the Reading Adventure new reader kit today. That's playosmo.com. Osmo, learning well played. Hey parents, we all know that feeling of heading back to school, right? That exciting time for new pencils and fresh starts. But what about fresh lunch ideas? Boar's Head has been going back to school for over 115 years, so they know all about packing the perfect lunchbox with uncompromising quality and all-time family favorites like Ever Roast, oven roasted chicken breast, maple glazed, honey-coated ham, and American cheese. Boar's Head makes packing lunch easy and delicious. Look for Boar's Head at your local deli counter and learn more at boarshead.com/back-to-school. Boar's Head, compromise elsewhere. Hello, critter protectors. Mr. Jim here, and welcome to Kids Animal Stories, a place where there's always a mystery and adventure around every single corner. If you love critters of all shapes and sizes, I need you on our Critter Protector team. Join our adventure as we learn about critters from around the world and in our backyards. Well, my friends, are you ready for today's adventure? Me too, let's go! It was a beautiful spring day as Xander and Damaris had been working very hard on making their nest cavity in an old tree. Wait a second. What does cavity mean? I always think of cavity as something that I don't want in my teeth. Oh, no, Xander and Damaris, they're not getting cavities in their teeth because birds don't have teeth. They're actually building a hole inside of an old tree. Two questions. One, how in the world are they making a hole in the side of a tree? And two, why do you think they're making a hole in a tree? Well, these two birds are called pileated woodpeckers, which are ginormous woodpeckers that need to dig a pretty large cavity in the side of trees to make their nest. Oh, and that's exactly what they're doing. You see, Damaris was going to be laying eggs very soon, so they had to finish their nest in a hurry. Damaris, do you think this is a good spot? Asked Xander. I don't know. That one doesn't seem high enough, said Damaris. You see, Damaris wanted their cavity in the tree to be higher than they had ever built before. She had been planning and talking it over with Xander all winter, and she decided it was best to be over 50 feet high in an old pine tree. Xander had picked the pine tree because it's a softer wood and easier to peck at. Hold on a second. Do you think in this new house that they're building, do you think they'll need to get furniture? Do birds need furniture? I'm not sure. I've never been inside of a bird nest cavity in a tree. Why don't you close your eyes with me and imagine what their home will look like? Is it dark? And, well, of course it's dark because I'm closing my eyes. But inside their cavity, do you think it's dark? Or is there a lot of light? Is it big or small? So many questions. Let's find out. The sound of Xander banging his beak up against the side of this old pine tree was echoing through the hills. Hey, honey, why don't you take a break? Said Damaris. I could really use a snack. Would you mind looking up to see where one of our caches are? Like one that's close by with some acorns. Oh, absolutely. I'll do that right now, said Xander. Xander flew over to this other tree which they had hidden his map. You see, Xander, the pileated woodpecker, he had a map of all the caches that he and Damaris had made over the years. Do you remember what a cache means? I think we've done a few stories a little while ago about caches. That's where critters bury all their food, or at least the food that they want to save for later. They might dig a hole or put it inside an old stump, and then they hide it. It's kind of like their pantry that they have to hide in the woods or out in the wild. And oftentimes they forget exactly where their caches were. So that's why it's good that Xander had made a map. Hey, Damaris, I think I found where the closest cache is going to be. I'm going to fly down there and check it out, and I'll be right back. He dove down from the branch he was on to where that cache was, and sure enough, there it was. This was in an old hollow log. As he peered inside, it was empty. Wait a second. We have definitely never used this food, said Xander. Oh man, where'd it go? Xander was a little frustrated. He flew back up to a higher branch to take a look at that map again. Maybe he got this one wrong. As he was studying this map, he heard two critters off in the distance. Wait a second. I remember those two. That's Melody, the red-headed woodpecker, and Sienna, the squirrel. Do you remember that story about them that we did several weeks ago? Yeah, Melody was that woodpecker that her mom wanted her to start making her own caches that she could use for lunch at school, and Sienna, the squirrel, was the awesome friend that helped Melody learn how to build a cache. And they're right down there. Melody was carrying a large bag, looked like full of acorns, and they were walking back to school. She was probably going back to have lunch. But Xander noticed that they were walking away from that log that he was just at. The cache that was missing all that food? Wait a second. Did they steal his food? Just then, as Melody and Sienna were walking back towards school, a ginormous woodpecker zoomed and landed right in front of them. Ah! Shouted Sienna the squirrel. Don't eat me! Did you two just steal my acorns? Melody and Sienna were speechless. Were those your acorns? I'm so sorry. We couldn't find the caches that we had made, and then we found that one in that log over there, and we thought maybe we forgot that we put them there, but if they're yours, I'm very, very sorry. Here, take them back. Melody, the red-headed woodpecker, handed this bag of acorns back to Xander, the giant Pileated woodpecker. Oh, no, it's okay. I understand. It was an accident. Why don't you keep those acorns? Sienna and Melody were both in shock. One, they had never seen a woodpecker this big before. And two, they were also very pleasantly surprised that he was really nice to them. What kind of woodpecker are you? I've never seen one as big as you. Xander laughed to himself and said, Well, I'm a pileated woodpecker. I do get that a lot. Critters are often afraid of me because I'm such a large woodpecker, but I'm actually a pretty nice guy.
Again, we're so sorry that we accidentally found your cache instead of ours,
said Sienna. Oh, it's okay. Actually, here, let me show you guys this. Xander pulled out the map of all of his caches and said, You two should think about making a map and marking on here where you put all of your caches. Then it'll be a lot easier to find later. That is such a good idea, shouted Melody. Thank you so much. We have to get back to school, but thank you, and maybe we'll see you later. As Xander waved goodbye, he flew back up to where Damaris was sitting on that branch. Did you find me something to eat, Xander? I'm sorry, I forgot. There was kind of a misunderstanding down there, but hang on 1 second. Xander dove back down off the branch to one of the other caches, grabbed some acorns, and brought them back up. As he handed Damaris some of the acorns, all of a sudden, in the distance, there was a loud boom crash. It startled both of them as two of their acorns fell off their wings and down to the ground. Oh no, it's starting to rain, said Damaris. Thankfully, Xander had already built most of the cavity in that tree way up high, so they were able to duck inside as the rain started to pour. Have you ever been outside right when it starts to rain? Yeah, and we race inside or run back to the car as fast as we can. Yeah, that's what they were doing because they didn't want to get soaking wet, especially with these delicious acorns that needed to be eaten. As they were cuddled up inside of their new home that they had just built, all of a sudden, they heard a sound. They looked over to the door of their home and they saw two very shadowy figures. Ah! They both shouted and Damaris covered her eyes with her wings. What could it be? Was it Melody and Sienna, or could it be something else? Like a raccoon or a possum? A unicorn even? A bear? I don't know what in the world is going to happen, but we're going to have to wait and see what happens on the next episode of Kids Animal Stories. Great job, you listened all the way to the end, and we need to talk more about pileated woodpeckers. They are the largest species of woodpecker, and they share something pretty cool with our friend Sienna, the red-headed woodpecker. You see, pileated woodpeckers also have beautiful red heads, except they're just ginormous compared to a normal red-headed woodpecker. And they're amazing at carving out these dens and homes inside of a tree. It's a good thing they have a very strong beak that can pound away at it like a hammer. Now I need your help celebrating 2 birthdays. Drum roll, please. Happy birthday, Dublin, who's turning 6 years old. Her favorite animal's a black jaguar. She loves to draw and wants to be a veterinarian when she grows up. Wow, Dublin, I'm so glad that you are on our Critter Protector team and you got to celebrate your big day on the show. And next up, we have a kid who turned 6 in July, and his name is Mateo. Happy birthday, Mateo is just turned 6 years old. Holy smokes, and I hear you're just starting kindergarten, which is so fun, and you learn so much. Well, Mateo, I'm so glad that you are on our Critter Protector team and that we got to celebrate your big day on the show. Happy late birthday. Woohoo!